There's a lot of confusion between bribery and reinforcement, and it's really important for both autism professionals and parents to know the difference. So today, I'm talking all about this important topic. Hi, I'm Dr. Mary Barbera from marybarbera.com. Each week, I provide parents and professionals with some of my ideas about turning autism around. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do that now. A few months ago, I also started my Turn Autism Around podcast. So I hope you'll check that out too on iTunes or at marybarbera.com/podcast. A few weeks ago, a certified teacher I know, I'll call her Susie, she said she was going to the store to get some cheap prizes to bribe her students, her fifth grade students, for being good during PSSA testing. Now, Susie teaches general education and has worked with my son Lucas for years, so I know she's very behavioral. She even created a token system, classroom-wide, and has been recognized for her classroom management skills. And for being behavioral. So I explained to Susie that she wasn't using bribery, she was using reinforcement, and she wanted to know the difference. So I explained it to her, and I'm going to explain that to you all too, because there are questions. I remember somebody came to see a session with my client Cody and his mom, Jenna, who's featured in a podcast. And they came to a session to observe the session years ago when I was working with Cody. And one of the reactions from both the student and the adult, it was like a teenage student and an adult that came with her, was they could not believe the dense reinforcement. I don't think they used quite the dense reinforcement term that I did, but they just couldn't believe how much reinforcement was needed to get Cody to participate, and that it was truly eye-opening. And I think people, some people that have misconceptions about ABA think it's just bribery and it's in some way detrimental, which is ABA is the most proven treatment for children with autism that has been proven, starting more than 3 decades ago and continues to be the most solid evidence-based treatment. So I do think that it's important, whether you're a parent using reinforcement or a professional in some kind of ABA programming, working with students, to be able to understand and teach people the difference between bribery and reinforcement. So bribery is not planned out. So I knew with Susie going to the store to plan out reinforcement, to plan out prizes was not, was definitely planned. So I before I said it's not bribery, it's reinforcement you're talking about, I asked her to explain what she meant by she's going to the store and what her plan was. So she definitely had a plan. Bribery involves no plan. It is very reactive. So bribes are given or offered following problem behavior. And a lot of times this involves negotiation with higher language kids. So, it might be reinforcing whining, reinforcing, crying. If we think about just the grocery store, the candy aisle, it's just a perfect example, because if a child starts crying in the candy aisle, I want candy, you never give me candy, da 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 da. No matter if the parent goes, well, I gave you candy last time, or I'll give you candy, just stop crying, or anything like that, or well, use your big boy voice, or whatever she says. She's reacting to that crying and whining behavior, thus reinforcing it. So if there's any negotiation at that point, it's likely to be a huge payoff for the kid. So parents use bribery and with negotiation, and parents are often frustrated and the whole thing is not very much led by the adult. Like Susie had a plan. She was going to get these prizes. She was going to set the expectations with her students that if they met this expectation, if they were quiet when their tests were done and blah, 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 they would be entered into a raffle or they would each get a prize or whatever her criteria was. She explained that to the students ahead of time. She had her prizes. She was prepared, and it was different than bribery. So bribery results in changes in the short term. Like, yes, giving the child candy in that moment will look like it works, but in the end, the behavior will worsen because you're already starting with the child crying and whining. And that's going to spill over. That's going to spill over to other stores, to bath time, to bedtime, to homework time. And that's where bribery really does get you in trouble. Reinforcement, on the other hand, like I said, is planned ahead, like Susie did by going to the store. The reinforcer, if that's an external reinforcer like stickers or small prizes, are delivered with praise about the specific expectations that they met. The reinforcer is delivered following good or great behavior, expected behavior, and it's the adult's in charge. It's adult-led. The adult will decide if the reinforcer will be given. And positive reinforcement, it's been proven, it's the science of ABA, is that positive reinforcement will result in long-term positive changes. Not just a knee-jerk immediate reaction, but a longer-term positive change where you won't even get the more minor behaviors such as crying and whining. So in summary, you need to know the difference, in my opinion, between bribery and reinforcement. You always want to use reinforcement, well planned out, adult-led, making sure the student follows, that reinforcer follows good or great behavior, and looking for the long-term changes in the student, not the immediate, just turn the kid's volume off and get on with your day. So it does involve, like with a grocery store, for instance, I would plan that. I remember me as a child, I was given, was sitting in the cart, and my mom would actually purchase, or she would grab a little thing of cookies, animal cookies. I would eat them during the trip, and then at the end we would pay for the empty box. It doesn't have to involve food though, and certainly it doesn't have to involve junky food. It could be, we're going to go into the store, we might have to start with shorter trips. We're going to get 3 things. You can help me pick them up off the shelves. We're going to get to the checkout, then we're going to come home, or we're going to go for lunch after. So whenever you're negotiating during problem behaviors, that's probably like more of a bribery situation. So know the difference. And if you'd like to learn more about my system for improving language, decreasing problem behaviors in and out of the house and school, you can sign up for a free online workshop at marybarbera.com/workshop. Wherever you're watching this, I would love a thumbs up, a comment, share this video with others who might benefit, and I'll see you right here next week.